And yes, we want that political issues are settled on the table through negotiation, not by imprisonment, by torture, by violence. Yes, if there is an opportunity to discuss, we will discuss.
You are watching Extreme Media UG. Subscribe for all the updates.
Good morning, members of the press. Thank you for coming to meet me. I called you today to let you know and to help me inform the people of Uganda, especially those here in Kampala, that on Monday, 23rd, at 2 p.m., we will gather at Rubaga Cathedral, and the Archbishop of Kampala Diocese, His Grace Twogere, will lead us in a Holy Mass to pray for Dr. Besigye and all prisoners and the sick in Uganda, to hold them up in prayer to God and hold up our country to God. This Holy Mass was requested by myself and my family as Christian people who follow the Roman Catholic faith, but it is for all Ugandans. It is intended to unite all of us in our different religions, Anglican, Muslim, Orthodox, or even those without religion. It is meant to unite us all before God. It is also meant to bring together all the families that are suffering today, who have people who are missing since this election, and for even years. There are some who've been missing for even up to 6-7 years. It is for those families whose family members are in prison, many times without charge, for many years, 15 years. I met one yesterday. I asked the Secretary General of NUP, David Louis Wange, to give me a list of families, of names of people who are missing or in prison from among their supporters. I was expecting to get maybe a list of 30 names, or if many 50 names, so that I take them to this Mass and we pray for them, we read them. I got a list of more than 600 people. And he said to me that the list is longer, it keeps growing every day. There are people they don't know yet who are missing. So it is a crisis in our country. We are coming together to pray at a time of crisis. This is not normal. The thing is that the violence, the militarism, the misogyny, the hatred and abuse of women has been going on and continues to be normalized. We are coming to pray to say that this is not right, this is not normal. We want it to change. We want a peaceful country, a democratic country. You see, since we started these elections and Dr. Besigye decided to run, the first time he ran, 2001, after that election, he fled into exile. He spent 5 years in exile. That was not normal. The next election, 2006, for that one, he spent half the campaigning time in prison, facing the same charges he's facing today, treason, even rape was there. Half the time in the presidential election, the main candidate was in prison. That was not normal. The next election, the third one, 2011, he was assaulted. I had to take leave from my job in New York to come here, to evacuate him to Nairobi to be treated after he was physically assaulted, almost made blind. That was not normal. Should I go on? The fourth election. He was held here after the election, prisoner in his own home, unable to step outside for months. We had to fight and fight and fight for him to be able to step out and be normal. That was not normal. Now see this young man, Robert Kyagulanyi. He comes out of an election and has to flee, hide. Finally now we have heard him speaking from Geneva. He runs away. His wife, Barbara Itungo, is assaulted in her home. And the head of the army proudly displays a picture of her in a humiliating position, like sitting and crawling on her bare floor, her house ransacked, and a soldier over her head. She told a painful story of her humiliation, sexual assault, pulling off her clothes and leaving her exposed in front of tens of soldiers. She fell unconscious, had to be hospitalized. This is after an election. These are not elections. The whole world is condemning them now. The violence, the fraud, the intimidation and threats, the humiliation. So, these are not normal things. Our country is not in a good state. I chose to go to pray because that's how I was raised, to take problems to the Creator and to come together with others to find solutions. That's the purpose of this Mass. It is not political. It is to unite us, to hold those who are suffering and stand with them in solidarity, and to start working together for solutions. Thank you so much. I'll take questions. The international community is concerned, and rightly so. What is happening here in Uganda, the violence, the abductions, the disappearing of people, the assaults on women and men and young people, is not just a matter for Uganda. It's a matter of humanity, and the international community is concerned, and rightly so. They're expressing their voices from the American government, European Union, individual European governments. This is welcome. But let's be clear, Ugandans, that while the world stands with us, because they should, because there are rights, human rights, that we share as people of the world, and we commit, governments commit to respect. So they call out the Uganda government on the abuse of human rights. But ultimately, our future, the future of our families, lies in our hands as Ugandans to find solutions together. That's why I'm calling everyone to come to Mass, to Rubaga, and we pray, and we then start to sit together to find the solutions. This is not about contesting for power and having who is going to be the president. No, this is about freeing ourselves from a tyranny that is being imposed on us by a government led by an army man who is the commander of the army, who is abusive, who does not respect law, and who sends a signal to other soldiers to behave in the same way. We must take our future into our own hands with the support of others in the international community.
My name is Musaja.
For asking that question, Dr. Kizza Besigye's health continues to be of serious concern. I visited him 2 times last week, and he told me that he has developed a reaction to his prison conditions, an allergic reaction that causes him to cough endlessly. He loses energy and loses the ability to speak. That's why when some people go to see him, he's unable to meet them. He's very low on energy and his voice goes. This is of concern. We have continued to ask for bail 4 times. It is denied. Bail can be granted to an ADF leader, a self-declared rebel group in Congo. Its leader, Jamil Mukulu, was captured, was given bail. But Besigye, who is a peaceful political leader, is denied bail. We continue to ask for bail because those conditions in jail continue to undermine his health, to make him weaker and weaker. And unless the threats of General Muhoozi are really their intention, and I now believe that that is his intention, to kill Dr. Kizza Besigye, then this is a plan to continue weakening him in jail and end his life. We are concerned. We are concerned about the continued threats to his life, concerned about denial of bail, and his weakening as he continues to live under those miserable conditions, as well as isolation. He's not allowed also to talk with other prisoners or to step outside he's contained in a small cell. He can't go and play football with others. He can't pray in church with others. He cannot even walk through others and greet and shake hands with another prisoner. He's guarded 24 hours by General Muhoozi himself and his soldiers. Because that prison is a prisoner under Uganda prisons, but I also know that in the prison itself are military men guarding him. When he steps out, they follow him. When he was at the clinic, they were there. I tried to confront one of them to ask them, why are you here? You are not a prison officer. He ran, and I took her picture of her back as she was running. So it's a situation where he's a captive of the army under General Muhoozi and General Museveni, and they are aware that his conditions are hurting him, but they want him to keep suffering. Dr. Besigye's message to Ugandans is to stand together and be united. To be united in claiming their rights, human rights, and their rights to democratic governance. He wants us to be united and not to be afraid. Fear is what those who want to govern us by force, by violence, use. So he wants us not to be afraid, to come forward and unite and demand our rights peacefully. This is his message, and that's why I thank very much His Grace Archbishop Paul Semolgerere for agreeing to lead this prayer, which is a personal request from a family member. This is the practice in our church, but knowing that this is an unusual prisoner who represents political ideas and is right now not free because of his political views. So that courage to step forward is what he's asking from us. The charges against Dr. Besigye are political. The charges, flimsy charges against the leaders who have been held, who are still being held, like the new deputies, Lina Zedriga, Jacqueline Kamshaba, are political. The charges probably that they would bring against all these more than 600 people they are holding will be political. So it's a political question. And yes, we want that political issues are settled on the table through negotiation, not by imprisonment, by torture, by violence. Yes, if there is an opportunity to discuss, we will discuss. the political questions that people disagree with the government about. First, let me make a correction. Our national budget is not mainly funded externally. No, it's mainly funded by the money raised from Ugandans through taxation. That is where most of our money comes from. Yes, government also borrows externally, and the grants, free money, gifts have become fewer and fewer. So that is how our budget is. It is of concern how that budget, that money collected from poor Ugandans is spent. Remember, the majority of our people are very poor. But that money, when you see how the government spends it after collecting it from very poor people, it's a sad story. So much of it is spent on the political class. You see these politicians and their big cars and their fat allowances and their wasteful ways of life funded from the taxpayer. Then you have also a number of other political people who are not even elected but who are shady. They are called advisors. They are also holding ministerial positions with a lot of money given out to them. So there's a political class that keeps increasing its emoluments, and that's taking from the poor person who doesn't have salt. But when they go to buy salt, they are taxed, right? Then there's a lot of money spent on a large army and security apparatus. Those are the ones who torture us, who beat us, who strip women, who go on social media and proudly drive intimidating messages at us. They are paid for by the taxpayer. They are paid for by this woman who sells tomatoes in the market after she has been taxed. So that's a whole security apparatus that is deep in the villages. They have spies in every village. All those are being paid money from our taxes. So it's a lot of money spent in wrong ways that could be back in the clinics, paying for mothers, pregnant mothers. That's money we should pay for kids in school. Last night I was accepting to work with some friends of mine to pay for a little girl who has passed her P7 and got 6, aggregate 6, accepted in Maryhill, but no fees. Why should there be kids who are not paid for by the government in secondary school? Ask for an increase and they will give it to themselves. These are sad things. This is a denial of life. Because when you don't have doctors who are well paid, there are many doctors in this country unemployed. The government cannot pay them and send them to Karamoja and send them to Kisoro to work for our people. They will not pay them, but they will overpay politicians and soldiers. Misplaced priorities.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Winnie. You are at the United Nations.
The United Nations doesn't need convincing about what is happening here. They are fully aware and they speak out. Our High Commissioner for Human Rights has issued several statements about things going on here in Uganda. Not only here in Uganda, in other African countries, all over the world. The United Nations is fully aware of what is going on and does continuously make statements denouncing, encouraging the crimes against humanity. They keep speaking, and they also talk to government. They encourage governments to respect the rule of law, to respect the conventions they have signed on, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They have not failed at any moment to stand for the values and the rights that governments swear to uphold. Embeera ya Dr. Kizza Besigye yeeraliikiriza era nagenzeeyo okumulaba wiiki eyiseewo emirundi ebiri nensanga ng'amaanyi si mangi n'angamba nti yafunye mu luzungu bakiyita allergy waliwo ekintu eyo mukomera ekitagenda naye ekimuleetera okukolola buli kiseera ate bw'akolola amaanyi gakendeera n'eddoboozi libula kyoba olaba nti oluusi abantu bagendayo okumulaba tebamulaba kubanga eddoboozi liba ligenze amaanyi gamatono n'okutambula ate eyo mukomera gy'ali embeera si nnungi bamusibidde mu kaspace akatono tebamukkiriza kutambula ng'abalala mu kkomera n'ayogera n'abalala n'azannya emizaano n'agenda mu kyakyo okusaba embeera gye bamusibyemu singa ey'abalala n'olwekyo tujja kwongera okusaba bbeeyi tusabye emirundi ena ne bagaana ate bawa abalala naye ye baagaana etteeka likkiriza naye jaji Baguma yagaana naye tujja kubeera nga tusaba tetujja kukoma ekirala tusaba ffe nga bannayuganda tetutya tuleme okutiisatiisibwa tukuŋŋaane tusabe rights zaffe mu ngeri ey'eddembe ate tuleme okubeera divided kubanga bwe tubeera divided tubeera weak awo nange nateekayo okusaba kwange kereziya kubanga ensomera ne archbishop waffe Pawulo Ssemwogere n'akkiriza okutusabira n'olwekyo mbayita mwenna emesaala nsabye mu kereziya wensaba naye yaffe ffenna mu ddiini zaffe ffenna abaisiraamu aba Church of Uganda Orthodox ffenna tujje tusabire wamu eggwanga lyaffe abasibe baffe ate n'ebibiina byonna mujje aba PFF aba NUP FDC n'atalina kibiina NRM bw'oba olumirirwa abantu baffe bano abali mu kkomera jangu tusabe wamu ate bwe tumala okusaba tutandika okukola wamu okulaba nti eggwanga lyaffe liddayo ku nkola ey'amateeka ate ewa abantu ekitiibwa kyabwe okwogera ne gavumenti omusango gwa Dr. Kizza Besigye ogwa treason musango si musango gwa okubba kintu musango gwa politics emisango gino gyonna gye batadde bano ba leaders ba NUP be tulaba mu kkomera misango gya politics era nasabye ba NUP nti bampe lisiti yaabwe y'abasibe nga ndowooza nti balina lisiti y'abantu liko abantu abasinga 600 ne baŋŋamba nti naye eno si lisiti yonna nti waliwo n'abalala bakyakola lisiti abantu amannya gajja bantu bangi nnyo abali mu kkomera tebalina misango naye bwe baleeta emisango gijja kuba misango gya politics kubanga babasibira okunoonya obululu bwa Kyakulanye so ensonga za politics zandibadde zoogeddwako ku mmeeza gavumenti bw'ekyusa endowooza n'ekitunulamu neeraba nti bino ebyokusiba abantu okubatulugunya tebijja kutwala ggwanga mu maaso ne bakkiriza okutuula ku mmeeza ne tuteesa ate ffe tugaana tujja kukkiriza okwogera byekuba ebirungi ebyokusolvinga ebizibu by'abantu n'okutuuka ku nkulaakulana
Honorable olowooza ani yandibadde omutuufu okukulembera enteeseganya zammwe ne gavumenti?
Yandibadde nga akulembera nteesagana ne gavumenti yandibadde omuntu ow'amagezi oba ekitongole ekikola ku bintu ebyokugatta abantu, naye tekyetaagisa bintu bingi nnyo. Ffe kennyini mu Uganda wano tulinamu abantu bangi betuyinza okwesiga nabo ne bajja ne bagezaako okutugatta ne twogera. Si kizibu ekyo, ekizibu endowooza ya gavumenti yaffe. Kubanga kitunulemu, bw'olaba oyo omwana oba musajja General Muhoozi ng'ateeka ku social media ekifaananyi ky'oyo omukyala Kyagulanyi, omuserikale ayimiridde n'emmundu mu nnyumba, omukyala ng'atudde awo ku fulowa ye ng'agendera ku mavi, ali ku maviivi, ekkabada zonna ziggule, bamaze okubimenyaamenya, n'alaga ng'agamba nti laba kyetukoze, tumuggyemu information. N'ateekako oyo omusajja mutwe, ng'omutwe bagusaze bwe bati. Ekyo kitegeeza ki? Ate ne gavumenti ne pulezidenti n'asirika, awo ofunamu kyawo. Ekitegeeza nti kyakola akigenderedde, kyakututiisatiisa, kyakutulaga nti ye akola kyayagala, takolera ku mateeka, ate ffe tetulina kyakukola. Ekyo kikulaga nti gavumenti esazeewo okututulugunya mu kifo ky'okutusaamu ekitiibwa. So gavumenti ng'eyo bw'eba tekyuseemu endowooza, tetujja kugenda mu maaso. Erina okweddamu n'erowooza nti eno si y'engeri y'okufuga abantu. Kyoba olaba nze nasabye tugende wamu tusabe, tukuŋŋaane, tutandike okulowooza tusobola tutya okwenunula. Si kintu kya kibiina, kino ekibiina kikoze omulimu munene nekiwangula. Kino kyakwenunula, okusaba gavumenti okutuusako endowooza netutuula nayo netuteekako enteekateeka empya. Buno si bufuzi. Wetutuuse bino ebigenda mu maaso tebiri. Nagambye mu Lungereza, they are normalizing violence, lawlessness, fraud. They are making it normal, but it isn't. So we are here to come together and say, no, we need a reset. We need a reset. We need to be governed democratically and peacefully. So si kintu kya kibiina kyoba olaba nze nkiteese maaso ga Katonda. Not there. I just said that if there is to be a dialogue, this dialogue would have to be mediated by a neutral, capable body or group of people. It's not necessary to start now speculating about who. I said in Uganda there are so many capable people of integrity, of experience, who can pull us together for a good discussion. That should not be the issue. You tend to jump to the difficult, you tend to complicate issues by jumping to a speculative, to speculate. That's not important. The principle is what's important. Are we willing to sit down and discuss political questions, or do we want to pursue a path of violence, intimidation, fraud, persecution, to govern by force? Is that the way forward? Or is it a democratic way of discussion, negotiation, agreements, and moving forward? That choice needs to be made, and let's work on how to make that choice. and don't get ourselves bogged down with who's going to lead this. That's not the question to start with. Amawanga g'ebweru nago gavumenti z'ebweru nazo zeeraliikiridde ebigenda mu maaso mu Uganda, ate n'endala nnyingi zoogedde nga zivumirira engeri gye babbamu obululu, okutulugunya abantu, okusibira abantu obwereere. Naye nagambye nti amawanga amalala era geetaaga okwogera, kubanga ffenna mu nsi eno tukkiriza mu human rights, eddembe ly'obuntu. Buli gavumenti yasayininga n'ekkiriza nti ejja kukuuma eddembe ly'omuntu. So n'olwekyo ebifa mu Uganda n'abalala bonna era balina right okubyogerako kubanga tuli one world, ate n'amateeka agatufuga gamu gana ga United Nations. So okugamba nti tebibakwatako mu ab'ebweru, ekyo kya bulimba. Kibakwatako kubanga twakirizanganya ffenna mawanga gonna nti eddembe ly'omuntu jja kulikuuma. Naye kye tulina okumanya nti ffe nga bannayuganda okwenunula ffe tujja kulembera, ffe tujja kwerwanako olaba nti eggwanga lyaffe liddayo ku nkola ey'amateeka ey'eddembe ly'omuntu. Amawanga amalala bajja kutuyamba, naye si kugamba nti bo be bajja wano okutununula. Naye batuyamba kubanga twasayininga nago mu mawanga ameegatte. Tujja kukolera mu nkola eneeyo.